Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name's Alison, the online piano and the online violin tutor. In these videos I'm going to be taking you through my newest book that I have written, which is called Composing the Beginner's Guide. Now this book is designed to be used alone, so just with all the information in the book, and also it goes with some video lessons. It goes with these video lessons that you will see on my channel, plus there are some exclusive videos that are only available to those of you that have the book. And you can get to those videos by clicking the links that are inside the book. This book is 100% downloadable. This is just a version that I have printed out at home and I have just bound together. And this book is also available from the website, which is just coming up here, or I'll put a link to it directly underneath. So if you want to learn a little bit more about composing and have me take you through the basics and guide of composing, then please keep watching. Okay, so lesson 5. This part of the book might seem a little bit fragmented from the whole initial idea of composing. You might be wondering why I'm going through the things that I'm going through in this next little part of the book, but it will make sense towards the end, and it's something that I just like all my students to be very, very well informed. I like students to know exactly what they're doing, why they're doing, how they're doing it, things like that. I like to give them all the skills and all the knowledge needed so that they can then use those skills and knowledge and adapt it to anything they like, you know, whenever they like, however they like. So the reason behind this is to help you compose something structured and something that sounds good and well organized, opposed to a random tune you've literally thought of. So you might have, you've worked out how you're going to write down the music, pen, paper, manuscript paper on a software program. You've decided what you're going to compose for, violin, piano, guitar, whatever. You've also thought of a theme or a genre or a style or something like that. But this part here will help you to consolidate those thoughts and consolidate those musical thoughts that you might have, so you are not necessarily just composing a load of garbled rubbish. In a way, you are composing a proper structured melody. This is how music is composed, whether people think about it indirectly or not. Those people that, you know, these world famous composers and obviously all the classical composers, they may not have necessarily thought about it theoretically in this way. I know I don't necessarily when I'm composing, but because I do have that knowledge, that is subconsciously in me, and that is why I'm composing. And the reason why things sound good when I compose is because I'm playing the right combination of chords, and everything is just structured. Everything has an order, everything has a reason to it. So I'm not saying that I'm not giving you a rigid kind of structure. It's just giving you a structure that will just help to guide you, as opposed to kind of the scattergun approach and you just composing whatever it is you want to compose and then wondering why it doesn't actually sound very good. Okay, so this is for composing in a major key. Okay, so the 4 points that you've got below that are written in this book will help you get started in completing an 8-bar or measure melody. It might not be what you want to compose, but I really do think it'll help to lay things out theory-wise for you, and therefore enable you to compose your own music with some sort of structure. This will obviously save you from faffing and messing about with your instrument, trying to figure out what's going to sound good and what doesn't sound good. So the first thing you're going to do when you're writing out an 8-bar or measure melody for any instrument, number 1, work out the key and write your chord chart. The chord chart is at the bottom here, which I'll go through in a second. Number 2, make your 8 bars on your score by hand or using software. Number 3, put in some chords. Number 4, start writing your melody. So I'm going to go through all of those in just a second. So for this case, I'm just going to choose the key of G major and start writing out the chord chart, which you've got at the bottom here, and I will explain that. So I'm going to briefly explain the chord chart, but I'm going to do it in a separate video. The link to that video is at the bottom of the page. Obviously, if you click on your PDF version or your downloaded version that you have on your computer, laptop, device, whatever, click where it says here at the bottom, you will be able to see that separate video. It won't be linked underneath. It's going to be just exclusive to those of you that has got this book. On the next page, there is a step-by-step guide on how to construct that chord chart, but you can always refer to that video, that exclusive video, for detailed explanation of each step. So on page 16 is a step-by-step of how to do that. So now you've got your chord chart. Just before you start, below are some hints and tips that are going to help you structure your melody. And there is another exclusive video which is just next to hints and tips. I will be going through each one of those points in a lot more detail, explaining exactly what all those points mean, so you know exactly what is happening. So moving on to the actual composition itself. So below you'll see a chart or table, which is at the top part of this book here, of how we're going to break down the bars or measures. The Roman numerals in the chart represent the chords within the key that I've chosen, which is G major. Eventually it will look like a notated version, which is on page 19. But how I've done it in this box is just, if it's separated in boxes, which are kind of like bars with no stave or no staff or anything like that, I just think it's just a lot less confusing just for now. And then I'm just really talking about how I've just chosen those chords and things like that. There is another exclusive video which is just in this section here. There's another exclusive video where I'm going to be explaining all in detail about everything that you can see on the top half of this page. And I'm going to be showing you some chords on the piano and things like that to kind of clarify what I've written here, because I realise it's a little bit fragmented, so you need to know more about it. So if you click on that video on your PDF downloadable version of the book, you will be taken to another exclusive video where I'm going to be going through all of that good stuff about the chords and everything. On the next page, you're going to see an example of a finished melody. So I've actually done a finished melody here with a chord chart, and what you will see is in another exclusive video, which is linked right at the bottom of the page there, you will see that I will show you how I wrote it and explain exactly what, where, how, why I was thinking as I was writing out the melody. So you can actually see me write out a melody using those chords and using that structured melody, and just by me making it up completely off the top of my head without using a piano, I will show you how I can make a melody sound really, really good just by using my knowledge of theory and how music is constructed. So then we've got some more information on page 19 that you can kind of read through. I don't really need to necessarily go through that. And at the bottom of page 19, there's another exclusive video that you can click on, which will take you to a video where I'm going through a completely new composition from scratch. So the exclusive video before that was where I was just taking you through this example that you can physically see, and I can tell you how I did that, and then you will see me do a new one completely off the cuff in that video. I don't know what's going to happen in that video. It'll just depend where we get to in that video, but I'll be telling you exactly how I did it and why I chose things and things like that. So I think that will be very, very interesting, and that's probably where you'll learn the most. The next couple of pages are where you've just got some blank chord charts and some blank bits of music or blank bars, measures, where you can have your own practice. You can obviously print out as many versions of, or as many pages of this as you want to. So now we're going on to composing in a minor key. Basically, there is a lot of information at the top here that you can read through. It's fairly comprehensive. There's not really anything that I need to kind of add to that. So as with the composing in a major key, at the bottom there's another exclusive video where I will show you how I went about composing this sample that we've got in the book, so you've got something to follow. Raising the 6th and 7th note. So when you're composing in a minor key, you have to raise the 6th and 7th note. You definitely have to raise the 7th note. And some of you might be thinking, well, why do you have to do that? So in music, we have two different types of minor scales, harmonic and... So in music, we have two different types of minor scales, harmonic and melodic. Some of you may recognize natural minor scales, but in all honesty, we don't really play them and we don't really do them. The reason why is that natural minor scales are just scales that are played from what you see from the minor key signature. So for example, A minor doesn't have any sharps or flats in the key signature. So technically A minor scale would be, which is modal. If you heard a piece of music in A minor, in the key of A minor, you would hear G sharps. So you would hear G sharps in that A minor piece of music. And the reason is because G sharp is the seventh, it's the raised seventh note. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G is the seventh note. According to the key signature, it's just a normal G, a G natural. We raise it to a G sharp. There is your raised seventh note. If you had a piece of music that had no sharps or no flats in the key signature, it could either be the key of C major or it could either be the key of A minor. And you would listen to the piece of music and think, oh, it sounded major, so it's got to be C major, or oh, that sounded minor, that's got to be A minor. But if there is no raised seventh in that piece of music, i.e. if there's no G sharps in that piece of music, that piece of music is going to sound very modal, which means it's going to sound very confusing as to whether you think it sounds major or minor. Sometimes it'll sound major, sometimes it'll sound minor. You won't know the difference. But if you've got a piece that's got G sharps in it, or a piece that's in A minor, that's got those G sharps in it, you will definitely know that that's in the key of A minor. So that's why we don't do natural minor, and that's where the raised seventh comes from. Now you can raise the sixth note as well. I've given you examples when I was going through the hints and tips earlier. There was another exclusive video where I was taking you through raising the sixth and seventh and why, and this, that and the other. But there is a little bit of information there about raising the sixth and seventh note. So the other thing is using appropriate rhythms. So there is a chart at the bottom. I've written loads of stuff in here that you can kind of read on about that. There's also some samples. Everything has been comprehensively written out for this little section here. So I don't actually think there's anything that I really need to add to this. You can just probably quite happily read that. And then on page 26, which is the final page, I've just shown you some more examples which were based on the information on the previous page. And then just basically in conclusion to all that, the more you do of this, the better you're going to get. But with the structured composing, you'll easily hear what's wrong and know why. This in turn will help you become better at composing and will just help you make sense of what sounds pleasant and why it doesn't. So my advice would be overall is to start by composing these structured melodies. So I know I've kind of put that at the end of the book, but I didn't really want to put that at the start of the book, just because I think it would have come out of nowhere. So prepare yourself, get everything ready, have a little fiddle about with what, you know, some things that you might want to do on the piano, or something you might want to compose on the violin, that kind of thing. And then I would head straight to lesson 5, where you're going through those structured melodies. And again, you might think to yourself, well, that's got absolutely nothing to do with me, I don't want to compose a structured melody. But if you can understand going from chord to chord and why certain combinations of chords do and don't work, why your melody sounds a bit something like that. That's just because that doesn't, it sounds a little bit, I was exaggerating there, but that sounds quite a bit fragmented, just because I wasn't referring to my own hints and tips that were in lesson 5, where I wasn't gelling the bars together. I was using really awkward rhythms. My notes of the chord were not established enough on the main beats of the bar, which means it's confusing the ear as to the harmony and the melody and all that kind of thing. So the reason why your tune doesn't sound very good is because you're not adhering to those kind of rules. So there we go. So I hope you've enjoyed this book, and I hope this book has taught you. And I know these videos might seem a little bit kind of lacking in information, but everything that you need is in that book. These videos are just here as a kind of to kind of reiterate the points that are all in the book, but everything you need is in this book. So I hope you've enjoyed the book, and thank you very much for watching. Bye.